This conference will now be recorded.
O- Okay. Um, so I'll just minimize this and then, okay, for the people who have joined today or joined this session who haven't joined on Friday, I'll just take 2 minutes to explain about the course and then we'll get started with the actual content for today. So the entire session for this is a crash course, right? A crash course very specifically tailored for the performance testing community to learn the automation testing and very specifically with the Selenium because in a lot of cases there are two requirements, right? One where we work with the DevOps team, pods team, where multi-skilled resources are required, so which means either automation resource needs to know performance testing, or performance testing resource needs to know a little bit of automation testing, so that they can support each other depending upon the bandwidth they have, because it's always going to be a lean team. There's one performance tester or one automation tester, so either of us should be able to do other testing as soon as the requirement is there, and that is the kind of a skill set everywhere now people are looking for. Okay, the multi skill or T-shaped skill set. You can be core in one activity, which is going to be performance, and some kind of a breadth of knowledge in the automation is going to be a real need everywhere. And second requirement is more from a shift left performance or early performance or client side performance and all. Again, the reusing the automation script and or using Selenium for capturing these metrics, or integrating with load runner or Jmeter for a small volume test. Even there, Selenium is going to be required, which means as a performance tester we should at least be knowing about the Selenium and way to create the scripts, execute the scripts, create a report, get the performance metrics from these things. We should a little bit comfortable about it. Okay, so that is how the tailored course is going to be for this crash course, and no way we are going to go in depth into the automation concepts or into the testing methodologies or automation itself. It's going to be very specific to what we would need in the real time, what you would need it from a performance, as a performance tester is what we have tailored this course. And as you see it in the schedule, we have multiple sessions. Again, when I say multiple sessions, it is not day one, day two. It will combination of multiple session can be in one day. We'll start with the concepts and basics today, and then following up the next sessions, it's going to be setting up the software, all the required drivers, recording of the script, and then we'll go with the development, converting the IDE script into your Java files, and then we'll look into what are the jar files that will be required for you to design a script in the Eclipse, and then we'll go with the script enhancement, and then script execution and reporting. Then we would try to see how we can generate some of the performance metric from Selenium, and then we'll also try to integrate and with a load runner or Jmeter to run a low volume test. So this is how the topics are going to be covered with the 5 hours crash course. Okay, so I'll just go back to this is the a very high level introduction. If somebody missed out, please go into the demo video that is available and look into the session what we have done on Friday. Okay, fine. So let me go to the introduction part. So today we'll spend next 20-25 minutes. As I said earlier, we're just going to keep it a little short today because people are yet to join. They might be joining tomorrow, so we don't want a lot of content to be missed out today. Okay, so I'll just start with the introduction about what the automation and the Selenium, how the Selenium works, and then some basics about HTML and object. I also have another trainer with me, Ram, will also provide some practical example of these HTML and elements that we look into the UI. Okay, so let me go and present this. Okay, so a very quick introduction about automation itself, right? I mean, we all know about the manual testing, automation, or functional testing, or performance testing. More very specifically, the automation, right? We all know that in every project we have this manual testing. And once the application stabilizes, or once we wanted to do a regression, obviously we cannot have 10 testers or 20 testers always going to do the manual test execution. That is not at all, that is, it has gone even 5 years back, 10 years back, people started doing this test automation. And now with DevOps into picture, this automation is even more important, so that once a build is deployed, automatically your basic build validation test can be executed, which is nothing but your UI automation, right? You launch a page, log in, go to different pages and go to different links, and then depending upon the page validation what we have, it is going to say pass or fail. The approach wise similar to performance script, right? Performance script also is going to do the same thing. Go to the home page, go to login, and then depending upon the screen validation, we are going to make the page pass or fail. Additionally, we'll also capture response time there. But here it is going to do the same thing, but the only difference between your performance testing and automation testing is from a scripting perspective. As I said on Friday, our performance testing is based on request response model. Here the automation testing, it is going to be based on the user actions, right? You launch the URL, you click login, you navigate to the next page, you click your text box, enter some username or password. It's all user actions. Whatever word I have used to it, right? It's all user action. And the user action based scripting is what automation is all about, whereas performance is more about request and response. Okay, so with respect to the test automation, we are going to automate the user journey. Whatever you do it manually, a tool is going to do it. A tool is going to launch, it is going to enter the login ID password, it is going to hit the submit button, and it is all going to be the way any automation tool is going to work. It is going to be based on these specific elements or specific document. All these terminologies we will look into it. But this is more about test automation. Is more about automating your manual way of doing the user journey, and it's very simple. I mean, we all know this. What is test automation? Just wanted to cover it as part of the beginning, right? And when it comes to automation itself, right, there are multiple tools. Commercial tools are there from Micro Focus or HP, or there are a number of automation tools, but from open source perspective, which is widely accepted and used today, I would say more than 60-70% for the web application. Right? Very specifically for the web application, not for your thick clients. Okay, thick clients or your other mainframe based applications or other non-web applications. That is not we are talking about. We are talking about the web application where it is going to have a browser and you're going to launch the application, right? So Selenium is obviously one of the famous automation tool, and there are multiple framework. Maybe each team might have adopted on top of Selenium Java. They might have created their own customized framework for better reusability, better maintenance. But Selenium Java is the underlying one, which most of the team is using it. One is the open source tool. There's a very big community support, and the programming language is Java. So it again one more popular open source programming language, which is having a very good community support, right? That is why the Selenium is very famous, because of the Java, which many of the people will know. But to do the Selenium scripting, and even if you don't know Java, I think it is not going to be a real bottleneck. And Selenium by itself, it supports various other languages. You will have Selenium Java, Selenium Python, Selenium Ruby, a number of programming languages, which we can use it for your development. But again, for our learning or for our course, we are going to stick on to Java, and most of the places you will find that Selenium Java is the one which is going to be used. Okay, and it supports multiple browsers, multiple operating system. Again, being a Java, you create your Java file, you create a class file, you create a jar file, and you can execute it in Windows or Linux or Mac when it comes to execution, right? That is the advantage. So it's when very basic about Selenium is we can it's a popular one. So whatever we are going to learn, you will be able to use it for sure in most of the projects, and you will have a very good community support for Selenium. Okay, so you might come across these words here and there. Okay, you might hear about Selenium Ide, Selenium RC remote controller, WebDriver, Selenium Grid. Okay, what we are going to learn is a Selenium Selenium, which will include a WebDriver. Okay, that is what we are going to learn. That is what it is used in most of the places. Okay, Selenium IDE is nothing but it's an again a kind of a development environment, right? Like your Eclipse, but it's a plugin for Selenium. You will have Chrome plugin or your Selenium IDE in Chrome. It will be there in Firefox, which is nothing but to do the recording of your scripts. You might have heard about Jmeter plugin for performance also, right? So it's a simple plugin available in the browser where you can do the recording. I think that we have seen a very quick walkthrough on that in the day one also on Friday, how an IDE is going to look like. Okay, so IDE is going to be one of the important components which we will use it for our recording. Okay, Selenium RC remote controller used to play back the script earlier. Where there's a remote controller component which will have a server component which can actually run your recorded script which will interact with the browser. But now there is no concept of RC. I think nobody is using that RC component, so let's not go in depth about it or even talk about it. WebDriver is the integral part of the Selenium today. Okay, Selenium, whatever we are going to download maybe on tomorrow, Selenium jar files which we are going to download into the Eclipse will have both the server component, also it will have the drivers. When I say drivers, right, you need a driver set of you can say set of libraries. Okay, for Chrome you will have a separate driver. For a Firefox, you will have a separate driver. So you have a simple program which is going to say navigate to google.com, right? It has to go and open the actual browser and it has to go and hit that URL. It has to launch that page. So which means your Selenium library should have the Chrome related libraries to launch the Chrome. Similarly, if you want to launch a Firefox, you should need a Firefox related libraries. Similarly, for IE, you need IE related libraries. Okay, so for each browser, you have a driver. Okay, that is something we will download it separately and we'll keep it in our mission, and we will just provide that driver path within our script. Okay, don't worry about it. We are going to see all these things practically. I'm just saying when you talk about WebDriver, it is a library which is going to interact with your chrome.exe or firefox.exe, and it is going to launch the Chrome or Firefox depending upon where you want to execute that script. Okay, so WebDriver is one of the component within your Selenium. Selenium Grid is more of a, I would say, if you are familiar with load runner, right? We have load runner controller, and from a controller there are multiple load gens, a master slave configuration in Jmeter. Jmeter or load runner controller load generator, you know that how it works, right? There will be one central component and there will be multiple load gens. That is the exact way Selenium Grid is also going to be there, more from an execution perspective. If you want to do a multiple or parallel execution, we cannot have all the scripts to run sequentially, right? So you wanted to have 3 missions separately, and each mission can do a parallel execution. So Selenium Grid is going to more of a execution related framework for a parallel execution. Okay, so these are the various terminologies, various components you might hear here and there, but for our learning, we will use IDE. Of course, we will use WebDriver, because without that we cannot run any, we cannot communicate with the browser itself. So the Selenium, when I wanted to construct a Selenium script, I will use Selenium IDE. I will also use WebDriver, part of my Selenium installable. Okay, fine. So at a high level, how the framework is going to look like. Again, this is a pure English, right? And we can relate to our load runner script or Jmeter script also. I always relate to these things because we know about load runner, we know about Jmeter. So if we correlate with that, it will be easy for us to understand how a automation script is also going to work. Okay. So in the bottom, you have app UT, application under test. Okay. It could be anything, Amazon.com or Nike.com, whichever you want to test it. Okay. And then we are going to have a driver script, which is actually going to initialize your web drivers, right? It will have Firefox driver or Chrome driver. It will have some kind of a jar files, Selenium jar file. That is going to be your driver script. Okay. And then you will have this environment, say it could be a dev environment, or it could be an UAT, or whatever it is. Okay. In which we are going to run this test. And then there will be multiple test cases. When I say test cases, right, it could be, say registration could be a one test case where we launch the page and then we click the registration and we provide username, password, all these things, and click register. This could be a registration test case. Second could be a login test case where I log in and then log out. Third test case could be a checkout where I log in and then do a search, add to cart, do a checkout. That could be a checkout test case. So a script can have multiple test cases, and all these test cases can be run parallelly also. Right? That is how the grid concept also comes into picture. So a script can have multiple test cases. When I say multiple test cases, everything could be a individual .java files, a login.java, your registration.java, checkout.java. So there will be multiple test cases that is going to be part of a one single script. Okay. And then obviously for a test case, you would need a test data as well, right? You need a login ID, password. You need a product which you wanted to select. So that could be multiple test data. So this is what your a framework is going to look like. A framework will have a driver script, which is nothing but a set of Selenium jar files, a Chrome driver path. That is a framework. That is going to be a driver script, which will have multiple test cases, test data, and it will have an environment in which it is going to get executed, and it will have it will point to an application which we are going to test, and then it is going to provide a test result. Okay, fine. So now let's come into some of the very basics about before going to create the script, record the script, or we are going to update that, enhance that in the Eclipse, right? We wanted to just understand few things about the web page itself, right? Because web automation is what we are trying to do. Web page automation is what we are trying to do, right? We are going to launch the page and then we are going to navigate through various pages. Okay. So, and we are going to we are going to whenever you're going to create a script, right, we are going to see something called element, document, window. All these words we are going to come across when we are going to do a scripting. Okay, so at eye level, if you see, right, if you take any web page and then if you say Amazon.com or open the Chrome, you will have a window. Window is nothing but the entire window of a Chrome, right? That is a first thing, window, and then inside that you are going to have a document, right? It is an Amazon HTML document, or it could be Flipkart document. Okay, and then you will have multiple elements inside that. It could be a button, it could be a link. All these things are element. So the three major things are your window, which is nothing but your Chrome window itself, and then you will have a document that will get loaded into a window, and then you will have these element like login or registration. That is the three high level hierarchy, I would say, but these are the three different words you will come across very easily whenever we are going to do the scripting. So you should understand what is the difference between window, a document, and an element. Okay, fine. And then when we are going to get this HTML document from the server, right? I type amazon.com, it goes to the server. The server respond back with the HTML document. Okay, and the first thing what a browser will do, be it as a Chrome or Firefox or whatever it is going to look into the each and every line of your HTML, and then it is going to create a DOM tree, document object model. Okay, uh, what it will do is it will look into all the different elements in the your HTML page, and then it is going to, in the bottom right hand side, bottom right, if you see, there is a HTML, there is going to be a header, there is going to be a body, and it will have a title, it will have a style, it will have a metadata, and then body will have again H1 header, H2 header, section, a paragraph, and then each will have its own style. So it will virtually, it will create a DOM tree, parent and child kind of structure. Okay, so that it can easily go and paint that document, or it can go and render it. Okay, that is how the document, that is what a document object model is, and with that it will be going and painting that page. Okay, so which means your HTML document, whatever you receive from the server, it is going to it will do a parsing, and it will construct this document object model through which it will go and paint it. Okay, and when you look into this each and every elements, right, you will have this paragraph, you will have images, you will have link, you will have your various div element in which you will go and do a click, or go and enter some text. It could be a text field, it could be a link, or it could be image, or it could be button, whatever it is, right? It is, all these things are going to be called as an element. Okay, and entire UI automation, it is going to be based on element. Either you need to click it, or type it, or submit it, or navigate it, right? All this is what we are going to try to automate it. Okay, so when I say try to automate it, right, either I'll go and these are the various locator. I mean, let's not worry about what is locator and all. We'll look into it in detail when we are going to do a recording and all. But you identify these elements in a page using all these different attribute. I can go and identify the login button with a name or ID or a class name. So how do I go and say, I know when I go to manually navigate, I see a button called login. I can go and click it, but our script will know, right? A script will not have a visualization to do it, right? So it has to know, there has to be a name for that. There has to be a name for the button, login button. That so how we are going to identify? Okay, let's do one thing. We'll probably, I'll ask Ram to share the screen, and he can probably give us some live examples about various, whatever I'm showing it here, right? This element, we'll take a look into this various elements in a sample web page, and then see what are different element in a web page, and how it can be identified at a high level. We will look into it in detail in the coming sessions, but more from introduction. Ram, I'll make you as a presenter. You can just go with some examples and show how these elements are identified in the developer tool itself.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, okay. Sure, Satish. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'll just go and make you as a presenter. I'll go on mute. You can go and share the screen, and you can go.
Hope all can see my screen, right? Okay.
Yeah. Yes.
As Satish explained, Satish has explained us the basic things of a document. Okay, the HTML document. I'll show it lively how it works. Satish would have said an HTML tag, and it will be divided into an head and a body tag. Okay, let's do a thing in practical. Okay. Now if I run this, I can see on the right side of my screen, there is a hey, I'm Ram and hey, how are you? Okay. This is called as HTML tag. This is a header tag of HTML. Okay. Now, this is a second level of header. Okay. And you can see the size slightly decreased. This is the document object model, as Satish said you. And all these things can be wrapped into another tag called div. The look and feel will again be the same. Now, let's go into the HTML elements. And these 10 are the common HTML elements which we usually see in a web page or a web application. The first one is the input box. Okay. Now let's go into a flipkart.com, for example. Okay. And if you can see here, this is the input box. Okay. This allows us to search for something, and it can be used for various purposes. And buttons. Buttons is nothing but this one, the login. Okay. There is you can see a button here, right? This is a button, a drop down list. Again, just a minute. This is a drop down list. Okay. A carousel. Carousel is a slideshow of images. This is a carousel. Okay. If you click on this button, it will go into the next image. This is called as a carousel. And a navbar. This is a navbar. Okay. Menu. This is again a menu. Images. This is an image. Okay.
Sorry, Ram, can you go ahead? What is that carousel?
Oh, 1 second.
Can you repeat once?
This is a carousel. You can see a slideshow of images, right? This is called as a carousel. This is a separate individual image.
Hey Ram, we can't see your screen.
Hey, just a minute. Can see now? Yeah, okay. This is a carousel actually. You can see a set of images. It will be keep on changing based on a time frame. Okay. When you go to Amazon or Flipkart.com, you can easily see it. This is called as a carousel, and this is an individual image. Okay. And then a card. This is a card actually. 1 minute. This is a card. Okay. 4 or 5 images can be wrapped into a single card for a specific purpose. Usually for a look and feel purpose, they use a card, and then a checkbox. Here you can see a checkbox. They are of different types. Some are multi-select, and sometimes only 1 or 2 checkbox can be selected, and they have their own purposes again. And forms. Okay. When I reload this Flipkart.com, I think there should be a pop-up. Okay, 1 minute. This is a form. Okay. A form can be a set of buttons, text box wrapped into a single card or a single page. Okay. This can be set as a form group. Okay. It contains some text boxes, and there is a button, and obviously there is an images and so on. Okay. And now, as Satish said, ID, XPath, tag name, link text, and class name. These are the 5 things which we usually use in the automation of Selenium to automate the WebDriver and so on. Now, inspecting an element. This is a very important phase wherever you go. Okay. For example, this is our website. Okay. and you can see the mobiles over here. Okay, now I'll be right clicking it and I'll be selecting inspect. I'll be getting the element. Okay, this is the element. Actually you can see the hover here. If I go here, and this is an image tag which we discussed earlier. The image contains an src. Okay, this src is the source file of the image. Okay, 1 minute. Okay. Now you can see a class. Okay, this is a is an anchor tag, and it contains a class which names as underscore 2a4012. I'll now I can even edit it. Okay, now I'll copy the class name. Now if you want to automate or click this anchor tag using Selenium, I may need this class name. Okay, I may need to call this class name in code, which we'll be discussing in the later phase. At the same time, apart from class, we also, an element can have any of these five. Okay, it may have an id, it may have an XPath, it may have a tag name. Tag name is nothing but again this a. Okay, this anchor is this a is a tag, and this is called as a tag name. This div is again a tag. Okay, and now to get the XPath of this particular a class, okay, we need to right click and copy, and if you get this, if you copy this XPath and if you can paste it here. Okay, this will be the XPath of the particular mobile. This mobile, you can see it. Okay, and id and link text is the one. 1 minute. Oh, it didn't contain any link text. 1 minute. Yeah, between the tags, okay, there is an a tag, anchor tag opened, and anchor tag is closed over here. Between the tags, if there is any text, okay, we can find the text electronics which is over there, and this is called as the link text. And you can even get elements on, or we can even automate the Selenium part using this link text. Okay, and then another one more important feature of this inspect element is you will be able to change the styles, fonts, and you can check if it's working here, and then you can go into your Selenium or those pages and you can validate it. For easy validation, if I click, okay, now I just want to disable this pointer. Okay, you can see one pointer, one hand symbol when I hover the image, right? Now I just want to disable this pointer. Now the pointer is disabled over here. You can see it. Okay. Now I have given cursor as none. So the browser automatically accepts that the style given for the anchor tag has its cursor as none, so it won't enable it. Okay. But this is just for our. This will be reflected in just our system. I'll get one element using ID. Just a minute. Oh, it again contains a class name. Yeah. Here the div contains an ID. Okay, and you can use this ID also as an automator, Selenium automator for the for our HTML element. Any questions? These are just the basics of HTML and inspecting an element, which we'll be covering. And in later phases, maybe tomorrow, we'll be seeing this ID, XPath, or tag name, or link text, everything embedded in our Java code, and we'll be automating it. Okay. For example, what you'll be doing in the next sessions is, if you click on login.
This is Swagata. Hello.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have a quick question. So, do we need all the elements or most of the elements, or only one element for automating a particular object like that?
No, you just need one element to automate a particular object. For example, you need to automate this login part. Okay, you need this mobile number and password to be automated so that if you it will automatically enter the mobile number and password which is given, and then it will go into the login and automatically click the button and go into the next page. So you just need to enter the mobile number and password.
Yeah, no, I'm asking that in that case. So when we were inspecting the elements, you were showing right those fields or those IDs, whatever we get from inspect elements to identify a particular field or button. Do we really
Yeah,
need
obviously
all
we
of?
need to do it. Okay, because this text box has its own identifier. Okay, if you go into here, pardon, 1 minute. I'll
Yeah,
explain.
I'll answer that question. There are 5 locators, right? The element can be identified by the class name or ID or XPath. So we just need to use one of that locator for clicking that login button.
Yeah, you can use any one of the locator which
Only
is
one.
present over here, which is
Okay,
present while inspecting the element.
okay, correct. So
You
is
can
it
use
like
a class name which can be specified here, or you can just copy. XPath is the standard thing which we use. Okay, we will go into the element, copy its XPath, and we'll put it into a Selenium script and run it.
okay? So is it like if one element is not working or not able to identify, then we try out different elements
Yeah,
associated with
you
that?
can do it. If the, for
Okay,
example, if the XPath is not working, then you can use this class name and then you can automate it.
okay, okay. Good. Thank you.
Okay. Satish, yeah, you can continue.
Yeah. We will take a pass now. Okay. Yeah, we wanted to not go into depth today because other people are just pinged me saying they will join from tomorrow. So we'll just keep it short, as I said in the beginning. If there are any questions, we can probably. There are one question which I answered in the chat for Selenium 2. And is there any other questions, guys, who have joined today new? If you have any question on the course content, you can ask here regarding the fees and all. You can probably reach out to Kumar sir. Anything about the schedule, you can ask it. Anything at the today session also, you can just ping in the chat.
Yes, Satish. Sana here.
Yeah.
So for performance test engineer or performance tester, the most important stuff on this training is the integration of Selenium with our load testing tools, or is there any other thing needed from our end? Is it only for the integration?
No, see, the whole course is itself to enable our performance testers to do Selenium based automation testing. And one part of that is going to be integrating the Selenium script, whatever you're creating, with a loader or a Jmeter, so that when in Eclipse you're going to run, it is going to be only one user. But if at all you wanted to run it for a 5 user or a 10 user concurrently, that is where Jmeter or loader is going to come into picture. Yeah, so the objective is to enable the performance testers with Selenium is the objective of the course. So not just integrating the load runner or Jmeter is just a one component of that.
And if you say Selenium is going to be the chaos, and we're not going to actually go in depth in this Selenium training. So how this is going to be useful to us? Because you said yesterday I listened your video, your demo, we're not going to go in depth. There's not going to be any in-depth stuff for us.
We're not going to be in depth, but this is more than enough for us to use Selenium for our purpose, right? See, objective is we are either going to reuse this script created by the automation testers, or we might end up creating few scripts for ourselves for the landing pages, for the critical pages, right? So the objective of this crash course, this 5-hour crash course, is to enable ourselves into the Selenium world, to create ourselves to create the script and run it. With this, yes, you would be able to satisfy the needs of that is expected in the project. In-depth is required only if you wanted to be an automation SME. Okay, we're not going to be an automation SME. We are going to be a performance tester who can do automation. For that, this will definitely help.
Good. Thank you.
Yep.
So Satish, one question. So how many days these sessions will be? And in terms of Selenium, the basic response times or any part of the performance are we going to cover as part of this course, or how is it?
The first question, it's 5 hours, right? So it will be 5 days. We would have 4.5 hours more, 5 hours more. I would say 5 hours starting from tomorrow. Even if you're going to exclude the 30 minutes today, it is going to be 5 hours, which means it's going to be 5 days or 6 days, depending upon every day how much we are going to cover. So it is going to start from tomorrow. Next 5 to 6 days is what, excluding weekends. See, that is what we are planning to do. That is for your first question. Second, from a performance metrics perspective, yes, with the Selenium, we will try to see how we can get your time to first byte or time to download time or load time, time to first byte. All these client-side metrics, we will try to see how we can get it from a Selenium itself when we are going to execute the Selenium script.
All right.
Satish, one question. Hello.
Yeah, please, Anil, go ahead.
Yeah, just one question. So, you also know that in the current world, every application is moving to this Angular based app code. So I didn't see anything related to how to find the elements in the Angular system, right?
Okay.
So are you going to?
Yeah, good question. We'll also, as we go into record and replay it, right? We'll also check any of the Angular application available over the internet, and then we will show you how to do the recording and execution. We'll have one of the example for Angular as well.
Okay. So when there will be different jar files that we're going to.
No, that is not required. No. It is not going to be required from a jar file or from the Chrome driver or the Selenium dependencies. We don't need to have anything for
Okay. Thank you.
Fine, guys. So we'll just stop it here. And if you have any questions, please feel free to ping me or WhatsApp in the group, and we'll connect tomorrow. Okay. I'll stop the recording here, and thank you guys for your time, and we'll again meet tomorrow.
Thanks, Satish and Ram. Good night.
Yeah, thank you. Okay. Thank you, Ram.